Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
Big Mo! Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I've been waiting the last 2 days to get on the stream with my friend Paul Mokeski so we could talk some NBA basketball. I mean, it's not like anything is going on out there, Mo, as we welcome all our friends in from around the country, around the world here on Sports Fluent. We want to hear your questions, comments. We got a few things to talk about. And Mo, it takes a lot to knock the Super Bowl week off the front pages of the sports page. But the NBA has managed to do it with the blockbuster trade of Luka Doncic going to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. The Utah Jazz are kind of in this deal, but I'm sorry, Utah. Y'all are just kind of bit players in this. And Paul, when I first saw this, I thought it was just a joke.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, and you asked a lot of people, they thought, it wasn't February 1st, it was April 1st, April Fools. I mean, that's what a lot of people thought. I mean, it kind of came out of the blue, and the reason it came out of the blue was because of the relationship that the Mavericks GM has with the Lakers GM back in the day when they were agents and doing tennis shoe contracts, and they kept it between themselves. So it wasn't leaked out. That's what happens, Ricky, Things that are talked about all the time are thrown out there against the wall. They rarely happen. And the things like this trade that was kept under wraps, even the coaches didn't even know. Even LeBron James didn't know. That's why I think that and the quality of two of the main players in this trade were the reason it was such a shock. Because, we'll go through the history of the Lakers and making trades for big-time players, but it's never been done this way where one all-pro is traded for another all-pro. It's usually always been draft picks and other pieces. But, after we talk about the trade specifically, I want to go into what the Lakers have done over the past 40 or 50 years. And it goes right to what they've done for forever. And Dr. Buss would be proud, wouldn't he?
Right. Yeah, absolutely, Mo. And you hit it right on the head there. And our viewers are loading up out there. We see you. We want to hear your questions and comments. Any thoughts you have on this trade, on what we might see this week as we head down the stretch to trade deadline on Thursday. I think it's Thursday at 4 p.m., Paul. So we got a whole lot to get into. But I want to address this Luka AD thing and get your insights on that. You were part of the Dallas Mavericks organization when they had the great teams back in the mid 2000s with Dirk and the great point guard. His name escapes me now.
Steve Nash.
And Steve Nash. Yes. First of all, from the Dallas perspective, what do you think was going on?
Dallas Mavericks know something that I don't know, that you don't know, that ESPN doesn't know, that nobody else knows. They know something. There's only one real reason. Well, there's two real reasons that you trade someone that's 25 years old, perennial MVP talks, leading scorer in the league, can do the things that he does on offense, although his defense is horrible. And it was pointed out in the finals last year that his defense is lacking. But there's only two reasons you trade someone that young and that good, and that is money, number one, and that combines with number two. There's something underneath the surface, and everybody's talked about it before. He's been a whiner in the league since he's been in the league. He always argues with the refs in detriment to him and his team winning games. He's barked at teammates before, and he's never, for the most part, been in great shape. He seems to always be out of shape, and which in turn gets him injured more often than not. And the Mavericks have been doing it for years. They've probably pleaded with him, listen, you got to get in better shape to be able to be the player. And I'm going to tell you, Frank, I'll tell you, physically he's injured, but that's not it. I'm going to tell you, Charles Barkley pointed it out. I knew this story back in the day. Charles Barkley pointed it out on ESPN today. When Charles Barkley played at Auburn University, he was 40 pounds overweight. He was 40 pounds overweight and one of the best players in the country, period. And he was a pick in the draft, I think. And then when he got to Philadelphia and he wasn't playing and he wasn't getting any playing time, he went to Moses Malone and said, Moses, why am I not playing? And Moses looked at him and said, because you're fat and you're lazy. You're fat and you're lazy. That's what he told him. Now, you can't say that anymore because people get offended, but it's true. And give Charles credit. So he took that as you're fat and you're lazy, in which this means that, you know what, you got the skill. You're going to be a really good player in this league, but you're never going to be a great player because you're fat and lazy and you're overweight. And so what do you want to be? And what Charles did is he listened to Moses and Dr. J, and he lost 50 pounds. He lost 50 pounds. And then he became the player. He became one of the best undersized players ever in the game. But that's Luka's problem. They've been telling him for years, you got to get in shape. Don't play in the Olympics because that's a time to get in shape. And he's never done it to the degree. You know who did it a few years ago? The Joker. The Joker did it a few years ago. When he came in the league, he was a really good player, but he wasn't great. And people told him, and what did he do for a whole summer? You could go on YouTube and look at the video. He's in Colorado, he's in Denver, running the mountains, running the steps, running sprints, getting his butt in shape. And he's been a perennial all-star since then, and an MVP. So that's what the Mavericks have been fighting with Luka. Luka got an assistant coach fired a few years back because he was holding Luka accountable, and they fired that coach. Well, at some point, you're going to probably get over it, and then that with the money thing. Remember, I said the money thing. Are you in 2 years going to give Luka a max contract that's $350 million over 5 years? That's almost $70 million a year, and commit to this guy who hasn't got in shape yet for that kind of money? And guess what their answer was? No, we don't want to do that. So they made the trade, and they got a great. I mean, it's a winner for both teams. I mean, obviously the Lakers are looking past this year. They're not very good. I think they're in 10th spot, 9th spot, 6th spot. Who knows? Luka makes them a little bit better, but losing AD hurts them a lot because one of the downfalls of the Lakers from day one, they don't play defense, and Luka plays no defense. So but they're betting on Luka for the future.
Hey Mo, Frank.
Hold on. Luka's going to be the next LeBron, the next Kobe, the next Shaq. That's what Luka is going to be for them. That's what they're hoping for. So we'll see. And here's my thought and my hope that Luka gets there and goes to LeBron James and says, "Hey, LeBron, can we go out to dinner? Let's go out to dinner." And then when he gets to dinner, he says, "How the hell are you playing at this level at 40 years old and your body looks like that? And I'm 25 years old and my body looks like this. I want to do what you do." And this is, I told Devin Harris, we drafted Devin Harris in the first round, point guard from Wisconsin, really good player, and he came in to back up Steve Nash. And I told Devin, I said, "Listen, see that guy over there, Steve Nash? You do everything he does. When he eats, you eat. When he lifts, you lift. When he goes in the hot tub, you go in the hot tub. When he shoots free throws, do everything he does, and guess what'll happen? Magical things. So that's what Luka should do. I don't know if he will. Maybe this is finally the wake-up call for him.
I mean, Mo, the way you said it in a funny manner, but it's really something he should do.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
That's what I mean. It's common sense, right? What I mean, look at LeBron. He just had like. Here's the thing. So I think he went into New York, in the Garden, and beat the Knicks, and he had like 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 14 assists. Rewind to 15 years ago when he was with another team, and he was 15 years younger, and he had 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 14 assists 15 years ago. Does that not tell you something? So I'm hoping that Luka does that, because if he does that, I mean, look what the Lakers have done with superstars from Wilt when he was there with Jerry West, and then Magic Johnson and Kareem, and Shaq and Kobe, and now LeBron. Look what the Lakers can do for you, but you have to do for yourself.
Hey Mo, Frank asked something. He says that we kind of touched on is something physically wrong with Luka, but then he asked, has he passed a physical? What's that when a trade occurs? What happens in terms of the transition to the new team?
You have to go to the new team and you have to take a physical. Now, here's the deal, Frank, and I learned this because I thought the same way, that if you're trading, go to a team and you don't pass the physical, the trade is off. I looked it up, Frank. That's not true. The other team can agree to waive that physical. You have to take the physical, but then even if you don't pass it, the trade will go through. The trade, if a guy that they're kind of, should we have done this maybe, and he fails the physical, then you can nullify the trade. That happened to a player in Detroit years ago, Ricky. I can't remember who it was. He was traded somewhere, didn't pass the physical, and they sent him back on a plane to play for Detroit. Back to Detroit after But Frank, they can waive the physical in the trade. So yeah, I thought the same thing because AD's banged up a little bit now too. But Luka's supposedly going to play next week. That's what I heard. AD should be playing pretty soon. So, but yeah, I always thought all these years, Frank, that if you fail the physical, the trade wouldn't go through. But that's not true. The other team can waive it.
Hey,
yes.
Is Zion in the same boat as Luka?
Yes, for sure. I mean,
and he's talking about Sean Elliott.
Oh yeah. Frank knows his stuff. But you're right though. We've talked about this before. Zion's in the same boat. I mean, Zion is Charles Barkley without being in shape, right?
Yeah.
So Zion can be, a good player in the league and up and down injured, or he could get in shape and become a great player. I know. Listen, I'm pretty much a genius at basketball. I know that. You know that. I'm just one of the smartest guys ever.
You are.
But it's just logic. It's logical. It's so logical, that it's overlooked sometimes. But yeah, Frank, Zion's in the same boat. Hasn't listened, hasn't put the work in, and here you are. And Zion's around 25 or 6 too, right, or 7?
He may not even be that. He may be even younger.
They have time, but guess what, guys? Believe me, I know. Time runs out. Because sometimes time is going to run out either on you or the teams that want to pay you. So.
Yeah. Hey Mo, but we're going to get to the Mavericks side. I want to dig in on the Lakers' perspective first, then jump over to the Mavericks. In terms of when they walk on the court now, they don't have a center of any. Well, they have they got to sit on the roster, but clearly they need another guy, right? How does LeBron and Luka play together?
Well, it's gonna for a while if they don't make a move, which I suggest they do, and I have a guy for them if they want. But if they don't make a move, they're going to be like the 6'8" run and gun Lakers of the past. But at least they had Kareem. But you're right. The only legit center they have that worth anything, his name is Jackson Hayes. He's
Right.
from Texas. He's 7 foot. He's averaging 5 points and 4 rebounds. That's not getting you anywhere in the playoffs. I'm sorry, but
Right.
you look at their makeup. So you have you look at like Luka, like you'll start Luka, LeBron, Hachimura, Reeves, and maybe Finley Smith or Gabe Vincent, who's playing again. You have Vanderbilt. You have the rookie Connect. You have Kleber, who's played for Dallas before. He's a 6'8", 6'9" big, but stretches and can shoot threes. And here's what hurts them, Ricky. You remember a couple of years ago, I was impressed with a player that the Lakers got pretty relatively inexpensively, who played for Dallas a few years back, Christian Wood. Remember Christian Wood?
He's just sitting there, yeah.
He's a 6'9", 6'10" athletic center that they made a trade for. And I thought, okay, put him with AD and you got something. But he's been hurt. He had knee surgery last spring and tried to rehab it during the summer, and he had it again this fall. So that hurts them. But, they need to, if they're going to compete with Denver and the Joker and, teams like that, they need to get a legitimate center, or they're going to be the 6'8" and under team.
Yeah, but in terms of, both of those guys are ball dominant guys, and both of those guys have played with ball dominant guys too, because both of them happen to play with Kyrie. So I figure LeBron have figured that out.
Yeah,
they're both.
And LeBron figured it out with Kyrie and won a championship when they were both. When Kyrie was really young and LeBron was younger. So now LeBron's been around. He can figure it out. I'll give credit to Kyrie, too, that remember when he went to Dallas, I said, no way he and Luka played together and could be successful. Well, I was wrong. I'm not the genius I said I was, because they went to the NBA Finals last year with that combination.
But I think they started out like 0-6 or 0-7. It took a minute.
Yeah, sure, but they are, they got all the way there. So, it's, I think the Lakers might have another move to do. Here's my question: now that you have Luka and LeBron as your main ball handlers, one of the most coveted pieces they have is Reeves, who's a 6'5" point guard ball handler. A lot of teams want that guy. Do you try and get let's say you go to the Bulls and try to get a Vukovic, a legitimate center that's averaging 20 points and 10 rebounds, and you package Reeves and somebody else? Or do you go to the Suns, who Nurkic is their big, that's a really good big, but he's having some feud with his coach, so you could probably get him the cheap. He's legitimate. Here's what I would do, Ricky. I would call up the Washington Wizards. Are they the Wizards now? Yeah. I would call them up and ask them about Giannis Valanciunas, the 7-foot big physical player. He's still averaging 12 points and 8 rebounds. He won a championship with Toronto. He's a big body, knows how to play with other good players, always in the dunker spot, really physical, can defend. You could probably get him for a second-round pick or something. That's who I would go after. And he's cheap in NBA standards, Ricky, not our standards. He's cheap. He makes only $9 million a year. I can't believe I did that. Only $9 million, but he isn't in the NBA anymore.
That's about $19 a year.
So only. And he's actually signed up for the next couple of years at $10 million apiece. So that guy with that lineup that I just talked about as the big body, you don't even have to score. Just finish around the hoop when he wants to.
Hey, and Mo, do you think this is going to be a busy week in terms of trades?
I think so, but we always talk like that, and the talk is cheap. But you know what, Ricky? NBA GMs, NBA owners are human beings. And what happens to human beings when they're in a situation and all of a sudden someone in their group makes a big move, something that no one expected, that no one thought, no one's ever traded Luka, and it's done already. Now you start thinking, well, maybe I can do something with one of my better players and make a move to help us get better. So I think that mentality is going to make this next 3 days very, very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now let's look over at the other end of it, and the Mavericks. And Mike asked this question. We'll start it off. How much does AD have left? He's 31 years old. He'll be 32 next month, I believe. Still a terrific player, Mo. Great defender, rebounder, can score.
Yeah, I think so. Anthony Davis has been hurt a lot of his career, but he hasn't the last 2 years. He's played a lot of games, and he's averaging 26 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and about 3 blocks a game. He's a defensive guy around the rim. That's what the Mavericks wanted. So did they lose Luka's playmaking ability, insane shot-making ability from who knows where, great passing over his head, between his legs, all over the place. But they also lost Luka's horrible defense, terrible defense, and replaced it with Anthony Davis, who's one of the better defensive guys in the league and can play 5, 4, and maybe sometimes 3. And I think it takes some of the pressure off of AD, because with the Lakers, he kept saying, I need another big body. I need another big body, because it was only him and LeBron, really. And now, you got Gaffer, you got PJ Washington, you got Powell, who plays center there. So you got some big bodies around him. Unfortunately for the Mavericks, Derek Lively just found out that I think he fractured something or hurt his leg. He's going to be out for another 2 months. But if you put Lively with AD, can you imagine? So, I think he has enough gas in the tank. Kyrie is smart enough to get him the ball. They got another guy there that's been around and won some championships, Klay Thompson, that knows how to shoot the crap out of the ball.
Wow, yeah.
So, when you look at their roster, they made the biggest improvement in this trade for now, because they're in ninth spot right now, 26 and 24. They're in the ninth spot, right? So they made this trade to move up to try and get into 5 or 4, and we'll see what happens. But they still got the talent even without Lively. If Lively was there, now they got a chance to make a serious run.
Yeah, they're 26 and 24, tied with Phoenix is ahead of them, but they have a half game lead on them. But they're only 3 games out of the 4th spot.
Yep.
3.5 games out, 4.5 games out of the 4th spot.
Yeah. See, Ricky, you learn well, man. See, a lot of guys look at that roster. Well, you're 7 games out of 1st, right? That doesn't matter. You want to get to 4th.
Right.
That's right. That's a great. Yep.
That's what I learned from Big Mo, baby. That's what I learned from Big Mo. And they got PJ Washington is a good player for them too. Solid.
Oh yeah. Gaffer is a good athletic
Gaffer,
player.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who else they added? So they got rid of Luka, one of the worst defenders, and they added AD, who's a good defender. Christie, the player they picked up in that trade also, he's a really good perimeter defender. And he's been playing really well for the Lakers. I think he started like the last 3 games, and they won every game. He's a defensive guy that'll plug in with that. I had Dallas as my dark horse this year to win it all. And then, after their start, and I was like, oh, shoot. Well, I might I have better faith in my pick now than I did about a month ago.
Did you put them ahead of Memphis now? Once they get settled in and get everybody back?
I put them right up there with Memphis. I mean, I put them right there. But you know what Dallas has that Memphis doesn't? Experience.
Yeah.
They've all been there before. AD's won a championship. Kyrie's won a championship. I mean, they've been there before. And Jason Kidd has won a championship. So they've been there before. Memphis hasn't. So in a 7-game series, when the heat is on, I'll take experience, the guys that have been there before, over the guys that maybe have a little more talent but haven't been there before. 7-game series in the NBA, that's no joke. That's a battle.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah. our great friend Steve checking in. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Steve.
Good to hear from you. We got a ton of people out there watching. Send us your questions and comments. Let's see what we have here. Bucks traded Giannis for LeBron. I guess we're going to see all kind of stuff this week. We had a little smaller trade go down. De'Aaron Fox.
Well, let me finish up talking about the Lakers because I grew up in LA. I'm a Laker fan. I'm a Wilt Chamberlain fan. Jerry West fan. That's why I wore number 44 my whole career. I'm a Laker guy, and the Lakers above any team. Hey, Chris. Lakers above any team have made dynamic trades for dynamic players. Let me give you a few right here, Ricky. And you could grade them because I looked at them today. It's phenomenal, right? So in 1968, the Lakers traded with Philly and they got Wilt Chamberlain. They got him for Jerry Imhoff, Jerry Chambers, and Archie Clark. And the Lakers got Wilt Chamberlain a little later in his career, paired him up with Jerry West and Baylor and Elgin Baylor, and they had battles with the Celtics, and they did win one of those battles and won a championship in '73, and I think they won 70 games or something. So
I think they won 33 straight or something at one point.
Yeah, they had the record. So that's not bad getting a guy named Wilt Chamberlain, right? So let's go a few more years later. In 1975, the Lakers traded with the Bucks, and they picked up some guy named Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's who they got in the trade with Walt Wesley, a Jayhawk who, rest in peace, he passed away about a month ago. But, and the Bucks got Elmore Smith, Ryan Winters, Junior Bridgman, Dave Meyer, and Cash. I played with Brian Winters and Junior Bridgman, really great players. Elmore Smith was a really good big in the league. They're called the human eraser. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the best players ever. So that's two. So you get Wilt, you get Jabbar, and then they make a trade in when did they make that trade? And they picked up Shaquille O'Neal. They picked up Shaquille O'Neal, right? And won championships with him and Kobe.
And they made trades to get Kobe, to draft Kobe.
So
and I don't know how they ended up with that pick to get Magic.
That was, I think, I'm not sure, but the Kobe trade, the Lakers traded Vlade Divac, very good player, to Charlotte for Kobe Bryant, who was then just a high school player, and they traded him the day before the draft. So let's see. You picked up Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, and Kobe. Those are the trades you've made, and that's only touches part of it. I mean, come on, man. The Lakers know, even if Dr. Bussey is in there, they make this trade. So it's no surprise that the team that's involved in a Luka for AD trade is the Lakers with the Laker girls.
Hey, Mo, the Lakers got Magic in '79 from a draft pick they sent to the Utah Jazz in 1976 for Gail Goodrich.
Oh, wow.
The all-star lefty who could shoot it now. He could shoot it.
Weston Goodrich, one of the best backcourts ever, for sure, scoring backcourts. That was my year. That was the year I was drafted, 79.
Wow. Yes, sir. That was a great NBA draft, 1979. Especially with that 42nd pick out of Kansas.
That's right. Nobody knew out of Kansas. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I played for 12 years. There's probably maybe 3 or 4 guys that played longer than I did. All the other guys didn't last that long.
Right. Yeah, Charlotte drafted Kobe and
for the Lakers. They drafted them for the Lakers. They made that trade the day before the draft. Yep.
They do that. Hey, Mike Jewell has an interesting piece. We're going to get to this before the show is over. I want to come back to this. I just want to throw it out there now. Coach Leonard Hamilton is stepping down at the end of the season. being sued by players over NIL promises not kept. We'll come back to that. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Mike. I do want to get to the move that happened with De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs, and get your thoughts on Fox and the impact he could make with the Spurs, which is not going to be, whatever it is, it's not going to be enough this year because they are currently 21-25. They're in the 12th spot, although they could conceivably get into the play-in. They're just a couple of games out of that. But
yeah,
your thoughts on that, Mo?
They made this trade because Wembanyama does not want to lose anymore. So victory for them in this trade is getting in the playoffs. That's it. That's all they want to do. And I think they're only four games out of the A spot, which is in the playoffs, right? So that's what they want to do. That's victory for them. And you put Chris Paul, together with Fox and Wemby and all those young players they have like 7 guys averaging double figures now. They got athletic guys. They got guys that can shoot. And now you got Wemby, you got Chris Paul, and now you got DeAndre Fox. That's a 1-2-3 punch in 3 different positions. I predict they're going to make a run and get in the playoffs, which is all they want to do now for Wemby, to not piss off Wemby so he wants to go somewhere else.
Yeah, get a taste of it. And part of that, there was a 3-team deal. Saw Zach LaVine head to the Kings. Does he do anything for you, Mo?
I like his game. I saw him play here years ago when they were getting ready for the Olympics, and he had a good time. He averages 24, 4, and 4. He's really athletic. He's really strong. But Sacramento. Remember the Sacramento Kings, the team of the future, and all that stuff. And they fired their coach, and we're gonna make a run here, and they're still in 10th spot. They're in the 10th spot. So why not make a move? LaVine is very dynamic. You put him with Murray and DeRozan and Sabonis and shake it up a little bit and see what you got. Does it put them over the hump? No. But, and I think, if I'm not right, I think DeAndre Fox was coming up to be a free agent pretty soon, like next year. He has a player option next year. So before they get nothing for him, they decide to try and get something for him. And the Bulls are having a fire sale, so that's the team I would call.
Hey, Mo, going back to the big trade with Doncic and AD, most people are saying the Mavericks didn't get enough for him. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Not really. I mean, isn't AD been on the All-Pro team a zillion times?
Yeah.
I mean, AD. I mean, isn't he one of the best defensive players? Isn't he averaging 26 points and 12 rebounds a game, along with 3 blocked shots?
Yeah.
I mean, so I would, and Max Christie, who's a defensive player who the Mavericks need. So you're never going to get everything you want. And guess what? You never know the winner of a trade till 3 years from now. You just said that the Lakers got the pick that they used for Magic Johnson 3 years before they picked Magic Johnson. So you never know. And they got a first-round pick out of it in 29. So, maybe that's the next Magic Johnson, right?
Yeah.
That's 4 years from now. Maybe he's the next Magic Johnson.
But I like what you said. They know something we don't know.
It's not basketball. The guy's lead scorer in the league. He can make shots that nobody else in the league can make. I'm talking about nobody. And so it's not basketball. It's attitude. It's attitude and money. So you're going to take his attitude. He's never got himself in shape. He's, he's whining all the time, yelling at teammates, yelling at coaches. He yelled at Jason Kidd in the playoffs because he didn't use his timeout to rewind the game, challenge the call. He yelled at Jason Kidd. So at some point, and you're going to have to pay him $330 million in a couple of years. So they made their choice. And like I just said, if the Mavericks make a run and get to the NBA Finals, is that a success for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if the Lakers over the next 3 years build a team around Luka, is that a success for them? Hell yeah, because LeBron is gonna eventually. Doesn't seem like it, but LeBron's gonna be done pretty soon.
Not acting like it right now.
Yeah, but
Hey, Paul, you talk about Nurkic being a possible trade piece. He said he does not have a relationship with his coach at all. They don't speak. Talk to us about that.
You can't have a successful team without communicating with your players and your players communicating with the coach. Now, you don't have to be best buddies, you don't have to be buddy, but you have to communicate. And I don't know the situation specifically, but I know that they have a younger big player there. I can't remember his name right now. That's playing really well. So they inserted him in the lineup because the Suns have sucked, right? They've been terrible. So you got to change. You got to make changes. Nurkic got changed. He got caught up in the change. He wasn't playing. Now he hasn't played for like 3 weeks. So that's part of the deal. But as a coach, you got to, I bring him into the office and, hey, it's nothing personal. I just made a change and we're going to see how it goes. And then after a week, I'm going to say, hey, listen, we won a few games here. I'm going to roll with this, just stay ready. That's what you got to do. You don't not talk to the guy, but hey, maybe Nurkic is a jerk. Who knows? maybe nobody wants to talk to him.
Is that on the coach or the player, or is it both?
It's mostly the coach. I mean, you don't in the NBA, you don't have players coming up to you and asking the head coach to talk. But you have head coaches going to players and asking them to talk. Players in the NBA talk to assistant coaches. That's who they talk to, unless you're LeBron or a star, Steph Curry. For the most part, you talk to the assistant coaches unless you have a major problem or concern. So you don't have players coming to the head coach all the time. Hey, can we talk? Hey, can we talk? Hey, can we talk? The head coach wouldn't be able to do anything. He wouldn't be able to put any game plans together because he'd be talking to all these guys because there's always 3 or 4 that think they should be starting and another 3 or 4 that should be playing. And, and your agents are calling them. So it's not really on the player a little bit. Maybe he's standoffish. Maybe he's a jerk. But it's more on the coach, in my opinion. You got to make the time. When you have a situation like this, when it gets to a point where a player in a press conference says, I haven't talked to him in a month, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a general manager and I owned that team, I would call the coach in and say, hey, wait, what's the deal? Have you not really talked to him in a month or 3 weeks? Really? Why? That's how concerning that would be for me.
Yeah, you're watching We Got Next. I'm Ricky Hampton with former Milwaukee Bucks center Paul Mokeski. Love to hear your questions and comments out there. We see you. We know you're out there. Send us any thoughts you might have, any ideas you might have on this. So Mo, does this impact Jimmy Butler's situation at all?
No. Maybe as a long shot, maybe there's more of a willingness to trade him, but not really. That situation is played out. That's done. The way it's been handled by him mostly. Now, opposite of what we just talked about in Phoenix, this is on Jimmy Butler. This is his problem for the most part. And he's played it out. He said stuff. He's left practice. He's been late for playing. 2 hours late, I heard. With players and coaches and everybody waiting on the tarmac for him. So it's already played out. It's just a matter of at some point in the next 3 days, when it gets to a point of pretty much Miami and Pat Riley and those guys throwing all these ideas at him for Jimmy, this. At some point, they're going to say, well, it's not what we want, but it's about all we can get. This is the best we can get. And we can't put him back in this roster. And at some point in the next 3 days, and it might be a last minute thing where all of a sudden you're on the phone. I've been in that room and, the clock is ticking and, okay, get him on the phone. We'll throw in another first round pick. Okay, we'll throw in this guy. Okay, and then it gets done that way. But that story is played out. They played it out weeks ago.
Is he done? He'll never play again for them.
I can't see how that happens. Never say never. Ben Simmons did it right in Philadelphia. He didn't show up. He was being fined. Then he came to camp because he didn't want to get fined anymore and acted like a jerk with his phone in his back pocket. And it took him a few days, and then they traded him. But, this is the same. I don't know how he goes back in that locker room, how he goes back and plays for that coach and that general manager in a Miami Heat uniform. Never say never, but, 99.9, I would think. I don't know how he gets back in that. To there and go, okay, guys, remember that stuff I was saying where I lost my spirit and I didn't want to play for the coach? Well, forget that. I changed my mind. Let's go win. That doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Paul, we got 3 days to the trade deadline. You've been there. What's going through the minds of the players? Because when you might be traded, you kind of know it. And sometimes you don't know it, as AD and Luka. And what are the front offices going over right now?
Well, they're trying to win games before the All-Star break, right? Because they want to go on the All-Star break on a downer, and they're trying to put out fires and not have players overreact. Because guess what, guys? Most of the stuff you read and see is not happening. It's all fake. It's not real. All these names. LeBron for this guy, that guy. It's not real. So just play your game, focus. That's what you're telling the players. And in the back room with the GMs and everybody else, you're calling everybody. Will you do this guy for that guy? Will you do this guy for that guy? What about picks? How about this, that? And you're going over every scenario. I mean, but you kind of, I was blindsided when I was playing for the Pistons. And, I started, most of the year before, I started most of the games, and Kent Benson played backup, and in my second year league, I did really well, 8 points and 7 boards, whatever it was. And then the next year, I was playing well again, and Linda and I were going to buy a house, so I went to Jerry McCluskey, Trader Jack, and I said, listen, we're thinking about buying a house here. And he said, oh yeah, no problem, Mo. You're in the future. You fit right in with Isaiah and those guys, and blah blah. And then about 3 days before Christmas, they traded me to Cleveland. I knew what was going on. We were at the Christmas party with all the people at the Silverdome after a game, all the kids and everything. And Santa came, and Santa gave me a Piston hat or something. And then, but I saw McCluskey and those guys going back and forth out of the room. And I told Linda, I said, something's going on. I'm telling you, something's going on. And then right about 11 o'clock, we said, okay, midnight's the deadline, so we're going to go home. And by the time I got home, there was a call for me. We trade you to Cleveland. Get on a plane tomorrow morning.
Frank is asking, somebody got bought out by the Nets. Who are you speaking about, Frank? Let me know, and we'll get that back up there.
Yeah, there'll be some buyouts now, and some players that can be picked up, some pretty good players that can be picked up by teams that need a missing piece. So that's going to happen too. Where you look at the Washingtons and all those teams that are
Chicago.
They're 7 and 40 or whatever. They're looking to the future. So how do we do that? We work on our young players. We get them playing time, get them better. We see if the other players are going to fit in, and if not, we get rid of them, especially if they have high contracts. And we see if we get some draft picks, because we're 30 games out of the playoffs anyway. So there's going to be some, and sometimes teams are going to go, we don't want Ricky. Sorry, we don't want him. And then they're going to wait. And then when that team waives you, Ricky, then we call you and say, hey, Ricky, we love you. Come play for us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's business.
Somebody wants you. And okay, he was talking about Ben Simmons. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whoever picks him up is a good luck with that. I mean, you know.
Yeah, what a, I mean, I, Paul, I gotta think with some of the behavior. You know what? I can't say that because 98% of these guys are professional players that go about their business, but the 2% that, or whatever it is, they
There's
still
more
so.
than there's
They
more than
still,
two, Ricky. It's more
yeah.
than
I mean,
two.
whatever it is, they still so many. But the vast majority of these guys are pros.
Sure, and
But
they want to be pros. I mean, you got different levels, like Ricky, right? You got LeBron and Curry, and they do everything right, and they stay in shape, and they want to win, and they want to help their teammates get better, and they do all that stuff. Then you got the guys that are kind of feeling their way. They want to, they want to. They're going, okay, I'm in the league now. I want to be a starter. Now I want to make more money. So how do I do that? Then you got the guys in the league that are just trying to hang on and stay on the team. I just got to stay on the team. I got to get money from my pension. I got to do this. Then you got guys that sign big contracts, Ben Simmons, and go, hey, I got my money and I'm going to do it the way I want. And if you don't like that, you can go do it. You know what you could do with it. And so you got guys like that. And then you got guys like Jimmy Butler who are they're really good players, but this is what they've done their whole career. They've done it with every team they've been on. This is the problem with him, though. His perception before was he was mad at his teammates for not wanting it enough, not playing harder, not
right,
doing all the right stuff. That's what his thing was, and he couldn't handle it. But
right,
now the thing is, he's spoiled. He lost love for the game. Now it's on him. He's selfish. It's
right,
different.
right. Hey, great question from Chris. Does Klay Thompson step up since Luka's gone?
Well, I think Clay's been playing well. I think he had like 16 in the quarter the other day. He's just not the Clay he used to be, but
Does he gets more shots now, Mo?
yeah, maybe. But I mean, AD is going to get he's going to get shots, but he's not going to get as many as Luka did. So there's more shots to go around, but he's going to take the shots. He's going to be spot up in the corner. He's going to drive to the basket when he has to. Clay's going to be Clay. And I'm telling you what, Clay wants to end his career winning. So he's going to do whatever it takes to win. I don't know if it opens it up more for him. Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to something Mike brought up a few minutes ago. I said I'd get back to it. Leonard Hampton, after 23 seasons at Florida State, is stepping down. Coach Hamilton and Florida State University are being sued by 6 former players, alleging that they were promised to follow up with $250,000 of NIL packages that they did not get. And I guess Coach Hamilton said, "Man, I've seen enough of this." And he's one of the last of the old guard from the ACC, Mo. A lot of these old school guys are just done.
So NIL and the transfer portal has changed college basketball and college sports forever. For the better or the worse, I think the worse, but some people think so, but it's changed it. Here's number one. All you players out there, every player out there that wants to sign NIL and make money and do all that, get a frickin' signed agreement.
Yeah.
Not some phone call, not some text. Get a signed contract because you're in the big times now, guys. You're in professional sports. You're getting paid to play. You're getting paid cash to play. Get a signed agreement, contract. Have your attorney look it over and make sure everything T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Or you're the fool that you believe somebody, that someone said something. Now, coaches, we had that situation here at UNLV for a football player last year that said he was promised $200,000 and they only given him 80 or blah, blah, blah. He left. But he didn't have it in writing anyway because the offensive coordinator said that he said that I said that I get that doesn't mean anything. You're in business now. You need signed contracts. And here's the other thing, though. And I knew Leonard, Coach Hamilton, back in the day. But my question to him is, why don't you step down now then? Why are you waiting until the end of the season? What's the point? If you're stepping down, step down. unless he probably has someone on his staff that he wants to kind of help out. But then you should step down, and hopefully he steps in as interim and can do well. But if you're stepping down and you're upset with NIL, then step down now. Don't get the rest of your money. You're making money too now. Just step down.
Yeah.
That's the question I would have. But promises are promises, man. Promises are promises, right? They're not. You're in business now. You need it in writing, signed in writing, contract. You're a businessman. You're a businessman now.
Who is it? You say Larry Holmes? Business.
Yeah, business.
I'm a businessman. Yeah. But
yeah.
think about this week. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left. We have not even mentioned the fact that the Super Bowl is this weekend. That's how big the NBA news has been this week.
Yeah, I mean, that trade was it was two huge, phenomenal players, but it also was a surprise. It was done late at night, and it was a surprise, and it's a buzz. I mean, every show, ESPN show was talking about it almost their whole show. We've talked about it almost their whole show. NBC News talked about it. But I would think that unless there's another huge trade, that people will start focus on the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and Kelsey winning the three-peat and doing what they should do and bring home the championship ring. That's what we should be talking about. But we're basketball people, so we'll talk about basketball stuff until Sunday.
Yeah, so I take it you think it's going to be a close game, Mo? I think it's going to be a good game.
Well, in Vegas, it's like a 1.5 point Chiefs, or maybe a 1.5. That means it's a toss-up, and it's going to come down to, in my opinion, who gets the lead first. Because if Philly gets the lead first, then they can run the ball to death, and at the end of that score. But then they run the clock, so Mahomes only has like 4 possessions each half, and that hurts them. But if the Chiefs get ahead and make Philly start to have to throw the ball a little more instead of running it, then I think the Chiefs have the advantage. Either way, I would pick the over. Don't even know what it is, but it's a toss-up. It's going to be Mahomes, their experience, their coaching staff, their defensive coordinator. That's amazing. And then it's going to come down to the running attack. Both the quarterback and the running back of Philly are phenomenal. So it's going to be interesting. And here's the other thing, Ricky, that people don't think. So this is a different game, right? At halftime in an NFL game, you get 15 minutes to 20 minutes. That's what you get. In the Super Bowl, you get almost an hour. That means, that's another game. And guess the Chiefs have been there before. And you have to have that psyche. I'll tell you, I think we got a couple minutes, right? Yeah. I used to play in a big-time golf tournament in Milwaukee called the Vince Lombardi Open. And it was, they had the ropes out. There was thousands of people watching us. It was a scramble. Guys like, all the Packers played in it. Bob Hope played in it. All the Bears played. It was like movie stars, everything. And I played in it. And but it was a long, long day. Usually a round of golf takes 4 hours. Well, this will take 7 hours. We had, so after you come back through the first 9, then you go to the tent and you can get something to eat and you can hang out. The problem is you're sitting there for an hour and a half. So what I learned how to do, and I did win it one year when I did this. So after I ate and stuff, I went into the locker room and I got in the hot tub for a little while. Then I took a cold shower, and then I changed my shirt, and then I came out, and it was like a new game. It was a new 9, and I won it one year doing that. That's what the Super Bowl's like. It's totally different.
But here's why I give Kansas City the edge, and I'd like you to speak to it as someone that's been part of winning programs, and that's what I'm talking about, the winning mentality, and the Chiefs have it over just about everybody these days.
Yeah, but I mean, both these teams have won and won tough games. I think the more of the experience factor is why I give the Chiefs just a little edge because of their experience. And people don't know halftime. We've seen games change at halftime in Super Bowl, right? We've seen the team now 30 points, and the other team comes back in the second half and beats them. We've seen that. It's a lot mental and being experienced. I'm telling you, Ricky, I won that big time tournament, had a nice little vase and stuff, had a big party. It's because I would go in the locker room, get in the hot tub for a while, take a cold shower, change my shirt, bam, I'm ready to go.
A new man. A new Mo. Hey, Mo, I got to bring this up about your Kansas Jayhawks because that had to be the first time in history. They blew a 19-point halftime lead and lost by 30 in the second half. I'm sure that's never happened in the history.
Well, here's the problem, Ricky. 4 days before, they lost at home against Houston. They had a 6-point lead with under a minute left at the free throw line, and that game went into overtime. They couldn't get the ball in. They threw that to Houston, who hit a 3 at the buzzer to put it in overtime, and they lost that game. A game you can't lose. And then you go and compound it with that just horrendous second half where you lose the second half. You let the team score 30, you lose that by 30 points. I mean, and they're playing right now. I don't know what the score is. I don't want to look. They're playing Iowa State, number 3, Iowa State tonight. So that could be 3 in a row losses. And I don't know when the Jayhawks lost 3 in a row.
Yeah. Hey, we just got.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ricky. Thanks.
I'm just like, that is not Kansas basketball.
Thanks, man. I was feeling really good thinking about the Chiefs and all that stuff. I told you this story about golf and winning the tournament. Then you bring up the Jayhawks.
Since this was trade week, I guess you guys see on the board, Mo turned down a trade with ESPN just to hang out with me. So, brother, I feel happy and honored for that.
I'm not going to disclose what other name was on the other side, the ESPN guy, and they threw in some cash. But I said, no, I want to work with Ricky and Ricky alone.
Paul, any final thoughts? And first of all, before we do that, Mo, we got a ton of people tuned in here, and we appreciate you guys.
Subscribe.
Yes. To Sports Fluent, and we appreciate you.
We're here every week. We talk about whatever you want to talk about, mostly on basketball. I'll give you the scoop of what I know. I've been around, man. I played for 12 years, coached for 25. I've seen locker rooms and inside offices and trades and drafts, and I love sharing stories and hopefully give you some insight that you might not have got from somebody else.
Absolutely. One of the best minds in the game. And thank you, Chris, and thanks to everybody out here. We're going to get out of here, Mo. For my great friend Paul Mokeski, I'm Ricky Hampton. See you next time. Peace, everybody. Have a great week.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.